And people are robbed every day. Physically, mentally. Go to governments. Corrupt governments. Shining lights. Shining lights. But they poison the very waters of knowledge and wisdom, understanding. That should be pure. We should have a pure understanding by partaking of the pure water of life that contains wisdom and knowledge and truth. That's what we should go to. If we've got an abomination in the corner there, it's teaching us corrupt teaching. It's virtually lobotomizing us. It's poisoning us. The streams and the tide of iniquity that comes out of that thing is poisoning us. Poisoning. Corrupting us. And the only medicine is what God has to offer of the pure water of life, of the knowledge that is contained within the scriptures of life. And the contemplating, the chewing over of the scriptures, of coming to the scriptures and maybe not understanding a chapter or a verse, but persevering to try and understand it by prayerful thought. Digging into this field until we find the truth that is buried, and then our lives are enriched, because the jewels of truth enrich our souls. And the fire of tribulations, as it were, the fiery trials of cross providences will leave those gems, those jewels of truth in place, whilst all the wood, the hay and the stubble of fake, false teaching, even of the fleshly mind, shall be burnt up. And continually, where rubbish, wood, hay and stubble, rubbish, false teachings come, we either deal with it ourselves or the fiery trials, and we all go through the first fiery trials to burn up the wood, hay and the stubble. It's to enrich our lives, to get rid of the rubbish out of our lives. And once that happens, we should then be circumspect from that and say to ourselves, hang on, I'm going to examine that. I'm going to examine what that person says. Is it evidenced? Is it evidence what this person is over here saying? That's what comes of fiery trials, cross providences, the chastisement of God to the children of God. But you see, these people here are left. These are left to their own false teachers and their own devices. And if we say to them, this person is a false teacher, we get a mouthful. All right? They won't have it. They've set their faces as flint to these people. Okay? The star was called Wormwood. Our star isn't called Wormwood. Our star is called Blessed, and he is the Lord of glory. He is the day star that is risen within our hearts and has healing in his wings. We are no more full of sores and putrefying sores and putrefaction of the grave. And the fourth angel sounded, verse 12, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it. and the night likewise. Now what is this? It's not literal again. It's not literal, Mr. End Time Prophets. This is spiritual. The darkness of our understanding through the fall is here portrayed. When Adam stood, the first Adam, he had perfect knowledge, perfect wisdom, unmolested by anything. He could have built cities. He could have built a rocket. He could have built anything. Absolutely anything. Anything. He had perfect knowledge for a man. Clear understanding. We don't understand. We don't appreciate. We don't fathom or whatever. What Adam had. He had everything perfect. We don't understand because we're imperfect. The light of our understanding is imperfect. His was perfect. His was perfect. There was no restraining of him to anything. But then he sinned. And what happened when he sinned? He brought down the whole human race. Yes, the whole human race. Which again is reflected here. This is the fall and the consequences of the fall to all mankind. And so what we read here, we can see in society now, and if we live to be 1,000 years of age, we'd see it in the 1,000th year of our birthday. The same thing. The face of the world may change. And does change. But the spiritual doesn't. Men are men, women are women. The creatures of God are the creatures of God. They're all the same. All flow out of Adam. That's why we have all the same as the fallen Adam. When these Darwinists come along, the evolutionists, on the origin of the species, 1858, fashioning man after Darwin, they cannot account for why it is that we have every trace that was in Adam. Hey? And if he were a myth, a fairy tale, then we must be so because we're copying him. Did you, mister there, who said that he's a fairy tale, it's a myth, a story to be told? Why are you copying Adam if you don't believe Adam existed? Crazy, isn't it? Hey, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun of understanding, it's gone. We are now limited in our understanding. We're not as Adam was in the first place. Hey? The sun was smitten, and the first part of the moon. The moon borrows light from the sun. Let not the sun go down on your wrath. Alright, the moon. So all these heavenly bodies, two principal bodies, the sun and the moon, within the spiritual realm, giving guidance and light. Okay. Like the rest of the stars, are smitten. Totally smitten. We struggle to obtain knowledge. We have to sweat and labour to get knowledge. We have to go to books. We have to go to schools, colleges, universities, even life itself to be instructed. Adam didn't. Adam didn't. And of course it's all in the spiritual realm. Isn't it? We are being instructed within the spiritual realm. It's not the physical. The brain isn't being instructed. The brain is an organ to interpret what? The spiritual, the intellect, the understanding. Huh? Can you put the intellect and the understanding handle them with your hands? No, you can't. They're darkened by reason of the fall. By reason of the fall. Right. The stars, the guiding lights that should guide us, are fallen also. Well, the Sanhedrin were cleared off, didn't they? In the fall of Jerusalem. The guiding lights. The guiding lights are the governments of this world. They're to guide us, you see, in the goodness, or rather, guide us in the way of goodness. That's how we put it. That's how they should do it. But they don't. Each and every one to their own selves. Fill me pockets. Hey? That's what they're saying in governments. Fill me pockets. And we shall protect ourselves. And in protecting ourselves, we'll protect the government that we form. Alright? The stars. So the third part of them was darkened, and oh, how darkened are the rulers of this world. The third part of them. With all the rulers of this world, there are those that are darkened, dark spirits, dark evil, dark in their understanding. We have darkness in our understanding, but these persons are stars. They're above us. They're in the firmament, ruling over us like the stars again of the Sanhedrin that fell to the earth. They were no longer spiritual in the sense of their positions of instructors, in guides, navigators of the people. They fled. Save themselves! Corrupt governments do that. Not all governments, but a good part of governments. You could say a third part of governments of this world. Because one cannot be precise, one has to use the heavenly metaphor. As with businesses that fail. And the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. Well, in the physical realm that is equally so, but you know, within the understanding there is a permanence. We shall not and never will, no matter what we think, ever get back to the first standing of Adam, to have a perfect understanding. There is still darkness and there's light. Light and darkness, ever present with us. That's how it is, that's how it shall always be. Verse 13, and I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven. Isn't that beautiful? Eh? Isn't that beautiful? It raises the spirits from all this condemnation that is afforded to the world, that comes upon the world, that is the world, as the world expresses itself. There's this angel flying through the midst of heaven, not in heaven, not above that, on that plane of heavenliness, nor in the plane of condemnation, that earthiness, but in the midst, in the middle of it all. What's in the middle? With conscience. You see, conscience spans two worlds. Conscience feels the upper world of goodness and righteousness, and it also feels the lower world of condemnation. It's in the midst. And this angel is flying. As we find in Revelation chapter 14, 6 and 7, where the angel has the everlasting gospel to preach to those that are upon earth. Right? That's to every fallen creature, not literal earth, but earthy. Not in heaven, but on earth. Not the heavenly realm. It's the conscience he was preaching to. And so it is that every person that's born into this world, their conscience says, that's right and that's wrong. Right and wrong is with every conscience in this world. And every conscience in this world is born with the knowledge of God. And that is the gospel of God. To recognise God and to reverence God. Everybody is born with it. Now, what's this angel flying in the midst of heaven with? And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. Woe, woe, woe. What comes out of the fall? It is declared, woe upon mankind. The world is a woeful place. It's not a paradise. Men and women stand up in governments and say we're going to create a paradise on earth, a utopia, a Thomas More's utopia. Do they do it? No, because they're lying, so-called nasty people. We could say stronger words than that. They promise what they could not deliver, and they're not going to deliver because they're evil. They're charlatans. They're trading in evil. They're trading with the goods of a lower world. They're in the marketplace for buying evil out of their own lower world and trading it and selling it to people. Trust me, the government is safe in my hands, and whilst the very words are dropping from their lips, they are destroying because they are the destroyers. They walk hand in hand with Apollyon to destroy a people and a nation that they belong to, and this is the madness. And of course secularism has got terminology for the madness of the evil that these people are. Psychopaths, sociopaths. I don't care for these words. They are of their father the devil, and he was a murderer in the beginning, and he murders people, he murders countries, they murdered their own country, and the madness of it all is that they are in their own country. So in effect they're murdering themselves. What sheer madness. Do you know when the devil was and is chained and thrown into the bottomless pit? There's no courtesies followed. Thrown. He went spiraling into madness, and the madness of himself. And when we look out and see pernicious governments, we see the madness enfolding itself in these people. And to be in the presence of these people is like to be in the presence of sheer darkness emanating from them. Absolute wickedness. Yes, your TVs and the like may portray these people as smiling, kind, understanding, pious, generous, so on and so forth. But one is looking at them from a distance, not face to face, personally. It's when we get face to face, the delusion vanishes. And we are faced with evil that is overwhelming. The darkness, the desperate evil, the stench of evil, as the scriptures inform us with these people. That there is the stench of the pit of hell, of fire and brimstone. I would love somebody, somewhere, a neo-evangelical, to knock on a door where the head of a country is and preach to them Jesus. Jesus loves you. As soon as the door opens and that person stands there, either the person that's going to say Jesus loves you is a demonic themselves, thoroughly demonic, and so is not disturbed. But the person who is not, who is just a person who's been fooled by this false light of neo-evangelicalism and Pentecostalism and all that business, when they're standing there, they would be repulsed. They'd go, oh! They'd lose all the words. They'd be traumatised, like a rabbit in headlights, for the overwhelming darkness of the presence of this person would leave a genuine person, though fooled, traumatised. Absolutely traumatised. This world is a woeful place. It's not a friend of Christianity. It's not a friend of truth. And when we find people that are speaking the truth and are sincere in the truth, not playing with us, not playing mind games, when they are, then we have a true friend. One we can communicate with on the same level. And those persons can still be found, even the ungodly. Even the ungodly. Because there's only a portion of this world, a great portion of this world, that is so corrupted that it beggars belief. We can have no association